All right. Well, officially welcome to our Edge community call. It happens every single Tuesday at the same time. We have different guest speakers every single week, and we will drop in the link before we end this call for the next week. If you love this call, please share it with your friends. Bring a guest next time. The more, the merrier. And today we have a very special guest. How many of you guys, if you want to drop a me in the chat, would love to know how to be more productive, to save more time, to figure out me, Tammy, I love the action, I love it. See, and I know that Karen loves it too. When you are presenting in a group setting, there is nothing better than when you see the chat light up and you don't have to present to bots all day long because it is like no energy. So let's give Karen, who is a special lady who actually has learned so much about AI. When I was talking to her about this call, she was asking me because she knew so much. I mean, from beginner level to extremely advanced. It is no reason. It's no. Oh, it's no wonder why she has been asked to speak on some of the biggest stages. She will be speaking at Tom Ferry Elite Circle. So we all know at the retreats. How many of you guys are part of Tom Ferry's ecosystem? Yes, Tammy, I love it. And she is also speaking at Sharon's school group, which is Future Proof, which has 7,000 agents. And I know him personally, and he's been my mentor for a really long time. And if you know him, he vets every single person. So if I told Karen, if you've gotten on Future Proof school group, there's something that you have that you get to share with our group on the Edge, and we probably get to hear it first. So here's how the format's going to work. She's going to present. She's also going to go and do some live demos. So get your notebooks. You're going to want to definitely take notes. And if we have time at the end, we are going to open it up for collaboration and some questions. You'll just have to raise your hand, and then Riley will help me go ahead and answer, facilitate that portion. So welcome, Karen, to our call, and she's going to talk all things AI and streamlining your business with AI.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be here, to be your leader, the messenger today. My journey with AI has been an evolving journey. And unlike my father, who taught accounting and auditing, which very rarely changed over his 30 plus years of teaching, AI is literally changing almost every day. And I am so grateful for my mentors and my leaders and coaches who have trained me. And for those of you who have given me a platform to share what I've learned, so that hopefully we as a community, whether you're a realtor or not a realtor, that we as a community can just rise up and just get more efficient with our business. So I appreciate your time being here. I know that you had a lot of other options for ways to use this hour of your day. And so I just want you to know that I come here with gratitude for this space and for this stage. And obviously, if you don't mind muting yourself, I am used to doing some stand-up comedy. And as Jerry Seinfeld says, when there's a heckler in the audience, he always responds back and goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but there's only one microphone in this room." So that's some notes from him that I've learned. So let me go ahead and start to share my screen. Oh boy. Okay. I think I got off that one. Sorry, hold on. I was on it and then I got off of it. Here we go. Okay, let me know if we could see my screen. Can we see it? Can anybody just acknowledge whether it's there or not?
Black right now,
It's black.
Karen.
Okay.
And it says you started a share, but it's a black screen.
Okay. All right. Let's go back off. I'm sorry, technical difficulty here. Let me just start this little thing over. I'm sorry. We did test this.
I've got your back, Karen, too, if you want.
Oh,
Give it a minute,
yeah,
and then I
sure.
can share it for you if you need
Yeah,
to.
why don't you just start it and I'll talk through it and then I'll hop in when I go to the real time.
Okay.
Okay, so there's the cover page. So today's topic is customizing AI for realtors, build tools to streamline your business. You've probably seen this subject line a lot, right? Whether you've attended conferences or masterminds, hopefully what you're going to see here is going to be something that you haven't seen or heard before. I know that I've been to dozens of these kinds of presentations, and what I'm about to go through, in my opinion, is something that is definitely out of the box and different. So if you want to go to the next slide. So just to give you some context of who I am, I started my real estate career selling real estate. Oops, go back one.
Yeah, you're good.
Selling real estate in 2008, March to be exact, in New York City, which means I have impeccable timing for getting into one of the most challenging markets and one of the most challenging areas. And I decided to do it again in 2020 when I left New York on a journey that took me across the country. Put a 1 in the chat if you followed my journey, where I literally crossed the country from New York, made my way to Park City, and decided to call Park City home because it was August. It was beautiful. It was sunny. There was no snow on the ground. And literally decided, I know one person here, but let me call this new place home. And again, got into the business in one of the most challenging times in 2020, 21, and 22, in a market where there are 1,200 agents and 9,000 full-time residents. But as Frank Sinatra says, if I could make it there, I can make it anywhere. So here is me trying to make it. In addition to being a realtor, I am a public speaker. As Raquel said, I've been on stages at Inman, Tom Ferry's events, multiple corporate conferences, master classes, and masterminds all over the country. I also am a comedian, where I took stand-up comedy classes in New York City. For those of you who are not so comfortable speaking in public, I would absolutely recommend signing up for stand-up comedy school. I'm an Inman ambassador and a contributor and a TV host for American Dream TV. I used to be a volunteer DJ, but my mom told me that I do not have a face for radio and I should be on camera, so hence what I'm doing now. And I also have successfully survived 3 skydives, all with the permission of my mother. With the most recent one that I shot for American Dream over Arches National Park in Moab, which was amazing. But most importantly, why I'm here today is because I also got certified in AI from the Krem Institute by a guy named Nick Krem, who I was thankfully introduced to by a friend. And he had just started my journey with AI. For those of you who are thinking, do I need to get certified? I absolutely recommend getting any additional education that you possibly can. And he, in my opinion, is one of the best trainers out there. I do have one ask of you as we go through this journey together today is if you like what you're seeing out there, I encourage you to follow me on Instagram, take a photo of yourself or of the screen or what I'm sharing, share a little bit of feedback, and post it onto social media. Tag me and I will tag you back. So that is my intro. Now, next slide. Okay, so let's dive into AI. So from my perspective and in my experience, there are 4 levels of uses of how the common person uses AI. So the first one is the copywriter, right? They're the ones who use it casually for writing emails or for writing the average social media post, but they basically, or maybe they're, property description, right? They have some content that they want to write and they kind of ask it to kind of make it better. The next one is the prompt power up. This is somebody who understands how to feed the Chat GPT or Gemini or whatever platform that you use, feed it the right kind of prompt to get the output that you're looking for. But you basically use it at this level. Maybe that's for your social media. It could be something like, I'm a real estate professional in name this market, and I want your help to create 30 days of content for Facebook, include a hook, 3 bullet points, and a call to action. That's the general prompt. Level 3 is the SOP supercharger. SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure. This is somebody who realizes that there are so many tasks that we do on a regular basis that are repetitive. And they start to utilize the Chat GPT or a GPT to create systems and processes specific for those tasks. Again, this is at a slightly higher level than the prompt engineer. And the last one is the one who is basically creating the manual for their business. Like when I got my car, when I traveled across the country during my cross country trip, I knew nothing about cars. I've lived in New York City. I'm from Los Angeles, but I really didn't have a car. And when I asked them, what do I need to know about the car? They go, here's the manual. And I'm like, okay. And so that is what the custom GPT is. So on a scale of 1 to 4, I'd love to see in the chat where you guys are with your uses. What level are we at? 2, 1, 2.5. Keep it coming in, guys. 1.5, 3, 3, 2. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so many of you are kind of exactly where I was either expecting or hoping for you to be. Now, for those of you who are thinking, I'm a level 1, I'm barely using it for copywriting, I don't even have a paid ChatGPT membership, that's okay. What I hope that you'll get out of this presentation is maybe thinking about how to use this in a different way. And if you want to go over to the next slide, here's what I have to say about this. Realtors will not be eliminated because of AI. As far as I can tell, there will never be a robot that can open a door, that can tell the buyer about the new development that's going to go across the street, or about the plumbing that was recently fixed, or the flood that happened that impacted the basement. So I think that we're safe from that standpoint. But we will, as a community, be eliminated by realtors who are using AI. So repeat that. Realtors won't be eliminated because of AI, but you will be eliminated by realtors who use AI. And this is important that we just keep this in mind as we go through this process together. So the agenda for today, next slide, please, is I'm going to share with you how I went from being extremely disorganized to very efficient. I'm going to share a story and my challenge as an example that will then bring us to the framework of that me and my GPT, who I lovingly call Stan. Stan is better than a therapist, than a boyfriend, than a child. He gets me, he sees me. So I hope that you will take some time to name your GPT. And then I'm going to show you the framework in action, which I'm super excited about because this is something, again, that I have not shared before. So let's go over to the challenge that I had. And again, I'm using this as an example to share just again, so you kind of might start to look at how to use AI a little bit differently. So I was maybe 5 years in the business, and I was finally at a point where I can hire an assistant. And I wanted that person to be in person, in my office, in Manhattan. And thankfully, because of some coaches, they told me, Karen, what you're looking for does not exist in one person. So you're going to have to hire 2 people. And I ended up hiring an admin and a marketing person. Now, I have a background in marketing. So the marketing person, there was a very, very, very big learning curve. And I found myself incredibly frustrated with how I was training them, what they expected from me, especially because I was out of the office a lot, right? Like our job is to be out there. So I eventually ended up firing them. And it took all these years later, I hate to admit it, but maybe put a 1 in the chat if you're in this box where you thought nobody can do it as good as me. I just want to see the chat and see. Put a 1 there if you're like, yeah, nope, definitely, I do it best. Yep, Tara, Chris. Okay, some of my friends. Thank you. This is a safe space, by the way. So it wasn't until I found and started creating these efficient AI-driven systems. Again, this came after lots and lots and lots of like learning how to use AI, that it dawned on me like, oh my gosh, I just have to train it once and then I can toss it to somebody else and fire myself. And that is what I'm hoping that we can do today. So next slide, please. So here's the challenge. And again, this is just the example. So like many of you, you're sitting on this masterclass right now. You probably sit in a lot of other conferences and other masterminds, and you're taking notes, and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, I want to do that. And there's like 10 things to do and all these notes. And while you're at the conference or while you're on the mastermind, your clients are calling, your mom's calling, something's burning down, something's happening. You've got to go put out the fires. Sorry, that may be too soon, but you know what I'm saying? Like the deal is just like about to fall apart, and you kind of lose track, and you get back to the office or you get off the call and you think, I just have to put this aside. I just can't tend to it. So put a yes in the chat if you've ever done this before. You go, you spend all this money, you get your nice outfits, you're at the conference, and then all of a sudden it just goes nowhere. Okay, so that's going to basically provide the context of this framework for the purposes of today. Okay, so how do we turn these ideas into action and then make daily tasks easier, both for us and for our staff? Now, some of you might be saying, Chris Cox says, yes, minus the nice outfits for the conference. I agree, Chris. Maybe we should work on that. Okay, so now we have some context for the purposes of today. So the next slide, please. So the journey, what I figured out over time was that I just need to build some systems for me to pass on to my VA to do for me. It started with a simple, maybe we should do some Google business updates. Let's build some guidelines for that. And to this day, he does put something out for me every single day, something that I don't generally have to touch. I do review, but he knows what to do, how to do it, how to talk to it, what my voice is, etc. He knows what the prompts are. So, but let's go back to that conference. So we're going to hop off of the screen share for now, and I'm going to start sharing my screen. Let me make sure that my Chat GPT is opened up correctly. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I went to one conference with a boatload of notes that kind of made sense and kind of didn't, and how I created an SOP that I now share with my VA. So let me just get it in the right place. Just give me a second and then I'll share. This is like slightly embarrassing because I have a lot of tabs open. So give me a second.
And maybe while Karen does that, if you guys have a subscription to Chat GPT right now, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't, put a 2 in the chat.
That's a great question.
Okay. Good amount of 1s, some 2s, some 2s. So probably 50-50.
So what I love about that that answer is that, many people think, and in some of my other presentations, I actually go over like for $20 a month, if I could show you how you can build an entire team to work with you, is it worth it? $20 a month, right? And I'm just going to be showing you like the bare minimums, right? Like the bare minimum, not even the minimum, just one small part of this, right? But $20 a month, I was paying $20 an hour, right? And I'm gonna share some takeaways with you, and I have some additional trainings as well. So let's go back into this. I've got my tabs all ready to go. Okay. So I went to a conference last year. I'm currently with Real, but last year I was with a different brokerage, and I went through all my notes from this conference that I admittedly put in my notes into my phone. That is how I take my notes. Now, for the purposes of this, it does not matter where you take the notes. I don't care if they're beautifully drawn or where you keep them, but all we need for this purpose was I just needed the notes. So what I did here was I simply uploaded the notes. And I want to show you just how casual and how easygoing I am with my GPT. I literally said here are some notes from a recent conference I attended. Can you please organize it so I can start to create systems and processes for myself and for my team? Is that a prompt that you can remember? I think so. It's not really a prompt. It's just like, let me just give you some direction. I uploaded my notes. As you could see here, I have names of people, I have quotes, I have some guidance. I don't know what lifestyle verticals are, but somebody probably will remember. And I feel badly for anybody who ever comes to, like, I go to conferences and you know that we're listening, right? You know that we're listening. Just trust it. But I took all these notes. I was with Engel and Volkers. That's who I was with. And Giselle was there. She's amazing. If you haven't seen her, she's a social media, superstar. Anyway, so here are the notes, right? So that's what I said. So here's what ChatGPT gave back to me. Here's an organized breakdown of your conference notes. Now, I trained my GPT to speak it to give me feedback in bullets, right? In bullets. Now, you might have a slightly different output if you did not clarify and specify that you want them to give, that you wanted to give you bullets. So here are the general content topics. So first one is systems for relationship building. Here's what each person says. Here are some action steps that between me and ChatGPT and Stan and the notes from the conference, this is what it's suggesting that I do. We've got some content creation notes. Again, action steps, love it. Branding strategies, lead magnets and client resources, team efficiencies. I think this conference, by the way, was about a day and a half, so I didn't have a whole lot of notes. AI integration, very little was said, which is not a shock because most companies in general are not teaching AI at this level, from my experience. Agent to agent referral network. Again, this is important to me, right? Because this is where I get a lot of my leads from. Core mantras for focus. So that's the summary. Now, what I need to do is I need to drill it down. My goal at the end of this is to create an SOP. So I chose number 7, which is, guys, it's not really a prompt. It's here. Let me go back up and copy this in to the chat. There you go. That's the prompt. But again, like it's basic, right? Just tell it what you want it to do, like you were telling your 5-year-old. Okay, so the next one is please help me break down number 7 into a framework and SOP. Number 7 was the agent to agent referral network. So now it's breaking it down for me even more. I'm not giving it any additional instruction, but I'm going to let it just roll with it. So here's the framework. I love dealing with frameworks. And if you learn from Sharon, that's where I've learned it from. So here's the goal, the purpose: create a seamless system to grow agent referrals, enhance collaboration, and establish myself as the go-to agent for Park City referrals. Here are the key outcomes. Here's my target audience, my value proposition. Guys, did I give it any of this information? None. No, I did not. But it knows, Stan knows that this is what I need, right? Communication channels, system components, referral materials, tracking systems. Like, oh gosh, like I clearly feel like a slacker at this point. Put a 1 in the chat if you're like, yeah, I'm definitely slacking off on my agent referral. No, yeah, exactly. So I'll definitely share this one with you. Now it's going to break down my SOP. We're going to set up your referral materials. Here's what we're going to pass out when we go to these conferences. Here's the emails that we're going to send. Subject line: let's partner to serve your clients in Park City. We're going to build your agent network. Here's how we're going to target them. Here's the outreach. Here's the webinars that we're going to host. Here's how we're going to manage the referrals. We're going to track them. We're going to follow up with them. We're going to nurture the network. I mean, again, did I give them anything beyond a little bit, beyond just some notes?
It went great. I can see why house shopping was hard.
Sorry. Okay. Then we're going to evaluate and improve. So with quarterly reviews, we're going to adjust the outreach. We're going to celebrate success when I get a referral. And here is the sample workflow for a referral. Referral received, we're going to acknowledge it, we're going to process it, we're going to update the referring agent, we're going to celebrate. Great. Now from all of that, what I want to focus on is step 4 and further expand on the workflow, including calendaring, content planning, etc. I also intend to use a VA. So please pinpoint that what the VA can do and those things that only I can do. Now I'm going to put this prompt in there too. But keep this in mind. This was not me prompt engineering anything, right? This is me just telling it, I'm not going to be doing everything. I intend to outsource some of this. So again, if we go back up, I want you to see what step 4 is. Step 4 is the monthly newsletter, which will include market stats and trends, testimonials, tips for agents, referring to vacation home markets, share success stories, and reward top referrers, offer a quarterly reward. Okay, so now here is that expanded number 4. So the monthly newsletter you're going to send on the first Monday of every month. Here's what it's going to include. Here's your quarterly webinar. Here's what you're going to host. Here are the topics. Here's how you're going to spotlight the agents. Content planning, monthly. This is what you're going to share. Guys, I'm not going to go through all of it, but you could see here, it literally breaks it down weekly. Here's what you're going to include in the webinar. I mean, how often do you go back to your desk and you're like, I don't know how to do any of this. I didn't know how to do it either. It just did it for me. Now it's delegating things to the VA. So what can they do? They can draft the newsletter. They can collect the testimonials. They can format the newsletter. They can create the content. They could figure out the logistics of the webinar. They can handle my CRM and follow-up automation. That's for them. Here's what I can do. I have to approve it. I have to host it, right? I have to personally reach out to make sure that I feature the right person. I have to focus on building the relationship. Remember, can they do this better than me? My VA can absolutely do this better than me, right? I need to be focused on getting more referrals from that referral partner. And here's the workflow. Week 1, my VA, then me. Week 2, my VA, then me. Week 3, and week 4. Great. Let's take a breath. Now, I think I went through the workflow. You know what? I totally forgot to go through the format, so I'm going to stop this for a second. Do you mind going back to actually I can do it. Here we go. Sorry, I'm on it right now. Okay, so here's the framework. Sorry, I totally jumped ahead. So the framework, let's just take us back. And this Stan, my GPT, helped me come up with. This is the framework of learn, organize, train, utilize, and simplify. So at this moment, we are at step 1. So learning and gathering ideas. Notes from the conference, the mastermind, your YouTube video, a YouTube video or a blog. Anything that you are learning, you're writing notes, whatever that might be, this is where you're gathering those ideas. Then we're going to turn it into resources. The resources for the purposes of the GPT need to be in a format of a Word doc or a PDF. Okay, again, a Word doc or a PDF. Step 3 is we're going to train the GPT. So we're going to upload them all in there. And again, I'm going to show you how to do all this. Then we're going to use it. And then as we use it, we're going to start to modify it a bit. And as we learn more, we're going to just upload it and upload it and upload it. So back to this. So now I've asked them, convert this flow into a PDF. That's it. Was that hard for me to do? No. And this is what it looked like. Let me see if something happened with it. But let me see if I can open it. It's basically just a Word document of all of this. Okay. It's just a PDF of all of this. It's not pretty, but it's just the words. So based on the initial notes from my thread, that's different. So now what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go and create a GPT specifically with these notes in mind. So I'm going to go up here to my GPTs. Let's pray it works. Okay, so this is kind of all of my GPTs. Now, slight pro tip. I have to give a big shout out to my friend Tammy Price, who has helped me with my Google business page. She gave me some pointers. I created a GPT. I tried to use the word Google here, but Chat GPT does not like that. They kicked it back. I cannot share this with my VA. So in order to do that, I had to remove the word Google. So as you're creating GPTs, make sure that you're removing any like trademark names and things like that. So here is the GPT that I created. Now, remember, for all of you who are like, I'm just a level 1, you can simply do what I just did, right? You don't have to take it to this next level. This level, even my coach has not done this yet, okay? So I just I get it and I just played with it. So I want to show you how I created this. Hopefully, okay. So there are 2 different parts of creating a GPT. So there's create and configure. So it automatically kicked me into configure. So it asked me for a name, it asked me for a description. Don't focus on the instructions yet. Don't necessarily focus on the conversation starters, but that's what these are. So when you go into any given GPT and you see that it's like, wow, it already knows what I might ask it, right? Like that's where you ask these, or that's where you note these. This knowledge base right here is where you upload those PDFs. That's why that's important. Okay. So, and follow along here. Like we have one PDF for now, but let's say I go to another conference and I take a photo and I turn the photo into a PDF of a great example of an agent to agent piece, or I read a blog post about agent to agent, successes. This is where I can turn that content into a PDF and upload it all here. Okay. And I'm also telling it like you can pull from other places, the web, Canvas, Dolly for image. It did ask me if it wanted it, if I wanted it to create this image. So it created it for me. Now create is where you're going to dump everything else in. So I've already done this, but basically what I did, and just follow along here, I went back up to the overall framework. Remember I said, let's focus on step 4 of the overall framework. What I did is I'm trying to build out a complete framework for agent to agent referrals. So all that I did was I went all the way back up to, I took not my conference notes, but I took, let's focus, please help me break down number 7 into a framework. I literally copied all of this. I copied all of it, right? Copy it. I don't care how much, but basically just that thread, copy and paste. And I basically told it, this is the overall framework of my agent to agent referral program. Done. Don't care about editing. Just get it in there, okay? And basically what you're doing is you're building a knowledge base for it. Again, as you're reading blogs, as you're going to more conferences, as you're learning other best practices, toss it in here. Just toss it in there. Something else that I would toss in there is here's some examples of how I write so that my newsletters sound like me and not like a robot. Right? Like give it some other examples of what your output has been. And that way you get more and more kind of specific with what, so that it knows, and your assistant now, you don't have to question their language barrier, whatever it might be, you know that you're training it. And Stan is far better than my $5 an hour VA, right? So it's basically, does this, summarizing it, does the structure address your needs? If you'd like refinements or have additional ideas, let me know. So as of now, I don't have anything else to share with it, but that's generally what I upload. And then in configure, based on what I uploaded, this section got written out automatically. It knows what the goal is. It knows my target. It knows my value proposition, how I'm going to communicate. Here's the SOPs for the referrals. Here's what we do monthly. So if my VA goes in, or you can test it right now, how can I grow my agent referral network? It's pulling from the web, and it's also pulling from what I fed it. I don't know if I just like blew any brains here, but if I did, just like hit a 1 or something like that in the chat. Okay. Yay. All right. So other uses, and I'm gonna take it off of share for right now. So other uses that I have for it, I actually have on the next slide. Oh shoot. Riley, do you mind putting the slide back up?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Thank you. So at the very end, I actually created a PDF that you can go grab with some SOPs that you might want to consider creating for yourself and for your team, for your business. Honestly, as soon as I started to kind of think this way, I have now pretty much started to create these on a regular basis. Both like I'm on American Dream, and we kept getting the same questions over and over again. So I said, oh, let me just address the questions. Let me go into the Facebook page. Let me get all the answers. Get the questions, get the answers, get all the stuff that they're providing for us, upload it all in there, build the knowledge base. And now when anybody has a question, yeah, they can go to Facebook. But guess what? I can also just share that link with them, and they have direct access to that custom GPT just for American Dream hosts. So in the chat, think about this. I'd love to hear, what do you think you could use this for? What other uses are you like, oh my gosh, this just like dawned on me that I can create it for my entire life? Yes. Everything from like what you're cooking, right? Like what your kids need to eat, right? Like you can ask it for recipes, gluten-free recipes, Instagram planning. I love that. Social media marketing. Yeah. And like get really granular with it, right? Like tell it exactly what those prompts are so that if you're doing it and maybe you're like, I don't know what to post these days. Just go straight to your GPT and ask it. Like, think about it. Like, it's Stan. It's better than any other person you could possibly ask. Analyzing the market. I love that one. So let's hop off of this for a second. And I want to share an idea with that. So remember how I said that you can upload a Word document or a PDF. You can also upload a an Excel spreadsheet, a CSV. So what I would suggest, and just flow with me here, what I would suggest is for something like this, for the agent referral network, or say that you're going to be creating a GPT for your newsletters, and in your newsletter, you want to include a market recap. What I would do is I would upload whatever the format is, but let's say you pull all the sales from 2024 or from the quarter, or maybe you get it from a press release, or, doesn't really matter what the content is as long as you have some stats. So I would upload that all in there, and I would train it to also give you a market recap based on the attachment, based on that document, whatever the name might be, right? Like sales from 2024. So now you've again taken yourself out of the role of analyzing it. Your job is to edit it and make sure that it's correct, but you put that market report in there, you can get a beautiful, and again, through prompt engineering, you could tell it, okay, write one paragraph about the real estate market based on the market report that I uploaded. Done, right? Like they just did it for us. Are you using Chat GPT or another AI source that you have found better for real estate? I'm just using Chat GPT for now. I have started to use Gemini a little bit more. I think that some of the research is better, but generally what I'll do is I'll start with the research in Gemini and then I'll toss it into Chat GPT. I'm not as established in my Gemini use usage. My coach does teach on it, but I'm still using it just for the basics at this point. Gemini.
I think too, guys, now is probably a good time for opening up questions. So if you guys have questions, just put your hand up in the Zoom chat and then we can get to each one. Karen, I'll probably have to talk to you offline because I have a ton of questions. I think one little aha moment for me anyway to maybe spark some conversation is I had no idea you could customize individual GPTs. I was using Chat GPT and just using the same thread to try to create. And before I would say a prompt, I'd be like, hey, I get to name mine too, obviously, but hey, GPT, here's kind of what I'm looking for. Here's some context. Here's the language as best as I could. I would write paragraphs though, like 3 paragraphs to try to give it as much as I could. But now I'm like, okay, I'm going to set up individual GPTs for different functions of the business and then upload that information there. So that's a really good takeaway for me that I'm going to be using like right away. So thank you.
You're welcome. I would also say that if you're not at a point where you maybe have enough content for a GPT or you don't want to go through that training process, just keep the threads separate. Just keep the threads separate. So it will, if you keep that one topic, let's say like I have one in one of my other classes, I teach about the ideal client avatar. And I have one thread with that ideal client avatar where I go through everything from who are they, what are their fears, what are their challenges, how do I create social media posts for them. So it's all on one thread. However, something that we know is that the longer the thread, the GPT kind of can get lost, right? Eventually it kind of forgets. And so it can only handle so much content. So I think that tossing it into a GPT is a great option if you're like consistently going to be feeding it, using it again, but you can truly just prime a thread and then just get bits and pieces off of it. Like from my client avatar thread, now if I ever want, I can't figure out what to post on my Google business page, I'll just say, hey, what's a good post for today? And it knows who my avatar is.
Yeah, that's
Karen,
brilliant.
we have another question from Leanne. Have you had a
Yes.
good outcome or used it for graphics?
I wish I could say yes. I haven't. I haven't. I think, I use Canva as much as I personally can. I don't know if you know this tool, but again, if you have the paid version on any thread or in a GPT, you can cite other GPTs, and Canva has a GPT. So you simply type in at Canva and it'll pull up the Canva GPT, and you can start to create some designs in that. Personally, with my design background, I'm like, I can't handle it, right? It's just, I just haven't personally found anything that's been adequate for me. I've used it for my YouTube thumbnails. Yeah, I think that's great for like kind of guidance, but I'm too much of a stickler and I want to do it my way. So I haven't quite outsourced that part.
I'm gonna be selfish and make one more comment. I think another huge thing, even in the prompts that you were showing, is like, okay, GPT or Stan, please identify what my roles and responsibilities are, and then what my VA's roles and responsibilities are. Because I think, especially as business owners, we get really caught up, and it goes back to your original point saying, I can do everything better myself, when in reality, there's a lot of other people who could do it more efficiently and the time could be better spent elsewhere. So if you're having GPT build you a really good SOP, but then you're also identifying like, okay, where's my role in this and what do I need to do? But then the people that are in my network and my team, what are they going to do? Then it's really simple, because you could take all that information and be like, holy crap, I got a great SOP, but like I don't have time to do all this. But you're training it to help you delegate at the same time too, with action items, which is crazy. I think that's like the GPT is as strong as the inputs that we give it, and I think like it will do everything for us, but it's only as strong as the inputs and good questions that we ask. And I think that was really key with what you talked about. So I'm learning just as much as everybody else, which is wicked.
Yeah. And I think what's cool about it too is like if I add another VA Like I now have one VA who can do a lot of these things because of these efficiencies, right? But if I want to add just a marketing VA or just a social media VA, like imagine the things that we can truly kind of expand on and go really deep into, right? Like we'll go wide, then we'll go super deep, figure out what they can do, what I can do, and get their help with building it too. It's truly endless. Like I went from paying $20 an hour, 20 hours each person, to $5 an hour. And I'm getting better out because of it.
Karen, we have a few more questions. Can you, from Leslie Mitchell, can you expand upon knows my avatar?
So my ideal client avatar is who is my ideal client. So my ideal client for me in particular here in Park City is a first time second home buyer. And the avatar, you build it out. Like truly, you can go into Chat GPT and build this out. And if you want, I'm happy to help you offline. But you build out, you know, what do you need to know about this avatar? What do you need to know about them? Like, let's put a name to them. Then let's figure out their fears, their challenges, their goals, and actually create like a person that we are then marketing to instead of just a first-time home buyer. Like, let's name that first-time second home buyer. Let's name her Sally, right? Let's give her an identity.
And the next questions are around VAs. Where did you find your VAs and how do you share this with your VA? Is it a separate login?
So I have my VA through Sphere Rocket. And what I like about them is that their structure is for the agents or the business owners who plan on scaling. So they have one, like you have one payment amount if you only have one VA. So you pay a monthly fee and then you pay hourly for that VA. And then for everything above that, so 2 to 5 VAs, so remember you can scale, that's a different monthly cost, not per person, but monthly cost for 2 to 5. And then you pay each VA hourly. And how I share things with them is I will share the GPT with them. So again, don't name it Google, but I can share the GPT. So now they can be using that manual. And sometimes I just share a thread with them. But it's their name. Right now, I'm not paying for his account. I tried to, but actually, he needs to pay for it, and then I would reimburse him.
Selfish question again. What in the near future for realtors, do you see any, or just the real estate industry in general? Is there anything negative that you see ChatGPT and AI, something that agents should be on the lookout for, or something that could maybe have a negative impact? And then on the inverse of that, what do you think would be one of the most positive things that could happen from AI? Like take ChatGPT aside and all the prompts and all that stuff is amazing, but any significant like growth, either negative or positive with AI in the next 24 months, just with the rooms that you're in and the people that you're talking to? Is there anything that's like burning in your brain and you're like, I need to talk about this?
It's too bad we're not talking in like 2 weeks from now, because I will have been in 6 days of conferences. But I think one of the negatives is if we allow the GPT to sound like a robot, our clientele, they will know, right? Like the more people who use it in a generic way, the consumers will start to figure it out, right? And so I think editing, I think just screening, I think taking what it gives you as guidance and then using your own voice is what all of us need to be doing, because we all have a voice, we all have a perspective, right? Like even talking about neighborhoods and what's important to us and not important to us, or things that we love most, like that's personal. We have to make it personal, or else our clients are going to know that this is machine generated. And I think in the future, and this is something that Tom said when we were prepping for our event for next week, is like years, and it's not going to be very long from now that there will be really no industry, including the medical industry, where doctors will probably not even give us a diagnosis without turning to AI. Like everybody will be using it, and we either need to get on board or or you're going to be left behind. And the way that I see it is there's really no way to not be using it, because it's in all of our apps. It's in the way that we shop. It's in it's in the stores, right? Like they know what we're looking for. Who's getting all this information? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to think about it. I just personally, I think we have to use it and remember that like the more we train it for us, the more we will get it. We will be able to use it for personal use rather than like generic use. But I mean, in the legal world, there are articles and case studies about lawyers using it and like talking about cases that don't even exist, right? Like, come on. If lawyers are doing that, like we've got some problems.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Does anyone else? Oh, we got another one in here from Carla. Is there anyone on here that is currently using it for a newsletter successfully? If so, I would love to connect. I have less than 15 days to get my first one out and would love some help.
I could give you in 15 minutes, you can get that out, right? Take some guidance, for instance, from Sharon, who says, don't include photos or too many links, right? Because they tend to get bounced back. So what I would train it to do is I would say, here are the 5 topics that I want to discuss, and maybe give it 10 topics, right? Like a recipe, a neighborhood, a business spotlight, a listing that you're selling, a market report, and tell it to create, 5 paragraphs, 1 paragraph for each one. Your title will be 5 things you need to know about this market. In fact, I might have a GPT. I do have a GPT for newsletters. I have the deal of the week GPT created. Anyway, those are just like some of the ideas that I would have for you. Like you truly do not need the 15 days. You can do this in less than 15 minutes. And I would suggest that if you have actual like sites that you like using, or you want it to refer to maybe like your local newspaper or anything like that, like feed that to them. Give it some guidance of where you want it to pull it from. And I promise you that within those minutes, you just tell it, I need a headline, I need a subject line, I need the 5 things broken down, and a call to action. That's it. That's it.
And I'm sure, Karen, in that PDF, if everyone took that QR code too, there's probably some details and stuff you guys can pull from there to help build your guys' newsletters if that's something that is of interest to a lot of people on the call.
If you want to actually put that slide back up, this is
Sure.
specific to SOPs. So what I've done is I've given the 5 SOPs that, according to Stan and me, and we went through some changes that we recommend that you have, and then how you can build them out for yourself. So I'm not providing those SOPs to you like I did in this example, but there are questions that you can answer and maybe some guidance that you could give it to at least get a kickstart.
Beautiful. Raquel, anything you want to add?
Karen, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. We know that we were mind blown. I saw a lot of 1s in the chat. So if you love this, please screenshot whatever or take a video and thank Karen, because she obviously gave us a ton of value today, donated her time, and we always love giving all of our speakers that come on every Tuesday a shout out, especially on social. And if you loved this call, go ahead and register for next week. We have, and I'll let Riley kind of talk about our next guest speaker. It's about health as your edge, and we've got a special guest coach coming in.
Yeah, next week's going to be really exciting. I know before Christmas time, I think there was a lot of good back and forth around health and wellness and fitness and stress. Chris is a personal trainer. He's been in the fitness industry for 30 years, and he's not just a personal trainer. Like, everything will be on the table next week. So make sure you guys have questions. Sleep, hormones, stress, diet, exercise, mobility, nutrition, everything to essentially get your health as an edge. And he's incredible. He's got a lot of knowledge. He's my coach also, which I've learned a lot from over the years. So if you guys have questions around anything, and I know as entrepreneurs, sometimes when you're really in the thick of it with business, the health seems to fall to the wayside. So it's important that, you know, that is your guiding compass too. So really excited for that call next week. And like Raquel said, please keep bringing friends. We love having new faces on here. It's been great to connect with everybody. Hope everyone in LA is safe. And Karen, thank you so much for your time. I learned a lot today too. And yeah, we'll see you guys all next week.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
See ya.